Fighting talk. Good evening. Soon we'll know the result of the most hotly contested by-election since Labour came to power. We're there as the politicians' pulses start racing. The OECD, the Rich Countries Club, convinced governments around the world that flexible labour markets mean more jobs. Now the OECD's own research suggests it got it wrong. The Russian foreign minister is in London to kiss and make up with Britain. He talks exclusively to Newsnight about life after Kosovo. And what's in a name? Why Calcutta has decided it's time for a change. Eddisbury should have been an entirely safe seat for the Tories. But their MP, Sir Alistair Goodlad's decision to take up the job of High Commissioner to Australia has proved a bit of a headache. The most recent opinion polls put them neck and neck with Labour. That's why the big boys on both sides were called in to do their bit. Even the Prime Minister was eventually persuaded to hit the campaign trail. But to what effect? John Kampfner is there. John, how's it looking?
Sarah, they started bringing in the ballot boxes here about 15-20 minutes ago. There's a palpable air of tension because Labour think they could just be in with a chance of a major upset. Now, if Labour won, it would be the first time in 17 years that a governing party has taken a seat at a by-election of the opposition. The Tories, for their part, they're moderately confident that they've held off the challenge. Because this is a rural, a disparate seat, it'll take quite some time for all the ballot boxes to be brought in and then to be counted. So we're expecting a declaration of, say, between 1:30 and 2.
I have to do this because I dribbled.
The parties might have deployed their big guns during this campaign, but the initial signs from the polling booths today weren't particularly propitious.
Oh.
A wet start to proceedings certainly didn't help, raising concerns that voter apathy that was so striking during last month's European elections may have become something of a trend. Labour know this is enemy territory. When Tony Blair came here yesterday, he was heckled by pro-hunch Tories. His newfound enthusiasm for banning the sport has injected real heat into the campaign. The Conservatives are playing on what they say is Labour's bias against the countryside.
Morning, everybody. Morning. Morning.
William Hague's been campaigning in support of extra help for the rural economy. This is one place where Mr Hague should feel safe enough to taunt Labour. So anything but a Tory victory would be disastrous for him. He knows that if his party can't retain strongholds like this, its prospects nationally are desperate.
And when he gets it, he'll get another message. Eddisbury says, keep the pan.
Large Tory majorities were taken for granted while Sir Alistair Goodlad was MP for this affluent seat. Now you could almost call this a marginal. In 1992, the Tories held the seat by a majority of almost 11,000, but last time around that had shrunk to barely over 1,000. Perhaps because of the jolt they received at the European elections, Labour feel they need to put up a good performance here. They've been bringing in their star turns for a mission that should have been impossible.
John Kampfner, we're reporting. Well, we're joined now from Eddiisbury by Phil Woolas, local MP, Labour's by-election minder, and by Chris Newman, chairman of Eddisbury Conservative Association. Phil Woolas, do you really think you can win this seat?
Well, this is a true blue Tory seat. It would be an incredible result were Labour to gain it tonight. It was a 12,000 majority in 1992. We think we've run a good campaign. We think the Conservative Party is in a mess. It's an amazingly exciting campaign, and we're looking forward to the result.
Still, it was just a 1,200 majority for this campaign, and you couldn't really have had more help, given that you not only got the Prime Minister eventually up there, but you've also had Mo Mowlam, John Prescott, Jack Straw. We've seen them all come out. If you can't do it under that, when can you do it?
Well, of course, this seat was held in 1992 by the Conservatives with a majority of 12,000. I think people should understand that the New Labour Party campaigns everywhere. The old days where we said we can't put up a good show, we're not going to bother, have gone. And under Tony Blair's leadership, we fight very hard for every vote, and we think that's the responsible and proper thing to do.
Chris Newman, William Hague said the by-election was a chance to give the government a good kick. Now, about 9% would take you back to 97 levels. Presumably, if you don't get anything like that as a good kick, you're going to be dissatisfied.
I don't think that we are going to be dissatisfied at all. I think a victory is a victory, and that is what we're looking forward to this evening.
But come on, this is a seat which is mainly rural. You've got the country's oldest hunt there. You've got a government in mid-term. Are you really going to be satisfied just retaining the seat?
Have you been to Eddisbury yourself?
I haven't been to Eddisbury, well, at least where you are.
You'll if you had been fortunate enough to come to this brilliant constituency, you'll know that in the heart of the constituency is the town of Winsford. And certainly we have solid Conservative support here, but in the main it is a Labour town, so it is a mixed constituency, and it has become mixed even more so since the 92 election that was referred to earlier, where yes, we did have a sizable majority.
So are you recognising there's a real danger you could lose it tonight?
No, I'm not recognising that at all. I think I already said that we expect to win this evening, but a win is a win, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Well, we shall find out in the early hours of the morning. Chris Newman and Phil Woolas, thank you very much. Now, everybody knows that flexible labour markets mean lower unemployment. That's why we went through such pain to...
The latest is that, interestingly, people here are saying the turnout could be quite a lot better than they had imagined. The rain had been pouring down at the start of the day. Weather improved after lunch. They're now talking about a turnout that could be around 50%, pretty respectable for a by-election, and a lot better than the European elections. Now, what that means is it could well be quite a close result, although Labour are discounting the possibility of a shock victory for them. The Tories are privately predicting a smallish majority, and they're saying a victory is a victory.
John, presumably it depends where turnout is highest, whether it's in the rural part of the constituency or in Winsford.
Absolutely. Winsford's a small town, but it's really the only town of any note in this constituency, and there are 88 polling stations around, very spread out. There's huge health warnings attached to any prediction. We're not really expecting anything definitive until about 2 o'clock, but Labour really are saying that they're not in with the chance of a victory, but that could well just be predictable downplaying of expectations.
John Kampfner, thank you very much. And of course, you can get the result and follow the developments through the night on News 24. The result, of course, expected about 2 a.m. Well, that's all from Newsnight for tonight. I'll be back for more tomorrow night. Until then, from all of us on the programme, a very good night.